The following program about domestic violence may include content and discussions which may be descriptive and graphic in nature and is meant for mature audiences. This important series is meant to provide a realistic look at domestic violence, to share information and provide resources to not only survive, but thrive.
So how can we get those numbers down so more women won't find themselves living in hell for 2 decades?
Well, you know, what I tell my clients and what I still speak, you know, with myself, once you are a domestic violence victim, when you see those signs, don't hesitate. That first hit, I don't want your apology. Leave. Leave what you got on your back. Leave with your dignity and walk. Don't stay around to save no money. Don't stay around to get the bank accounts right. Don't stay around. Grab what you got and go. And that's how I went out, but I went out in blood. I crawled out. I went out with closed eyes. I drove my car with closed eyes, and I drove myself to safety. So don't hesitate for a minute to think it's going to get better, because even though there are bad times when people raise, we are going to argue, but you don't have to do a connection for us hitting and kicking and spitting and locking you up. Don't do it. Just go. I know I love my husband, but he didn't love me, and I had to find out that love doesn't hurt. So, and I would tell anyone that's going through domestic violence, watch the signs. If he got a gun in his dashboard, if he not licensed to carry, go. If he hits you, go. Let your heart mend away from him. Don't stay there to try to make a plan of it, because it's not going to work.
Absolutely.
It's not going to work.
Yeah. And that is real.
Yeah,
That is real, and that's good advice, because so many women and men stay thinking they're going to change, you know, thinking it's going to get better. And as you pointed out, they do love their abusers. They want to go back to that person that they fell in love with. That was charming. But you're so right, and a real survivor to have gone through what you have and to be here today, and really both of you. So thank you for that. Unfortunately, we are just about out of time, but before we go, it would be great if both of you could provide a few takeaways. Shanae, we know it's no secret, right, that domestic violence can make a person feel very isolated. You can feel embarrassed and even ashamed, you know, like it's your fault, like you did something. You don't want people to know about it, right? But of course, can you speak about those feelings and really tell a man or woman who's living in that situation what they should do, along with what Carolyn just said?
Right, I would have to agree. Because of what I do, the work that I've done in the community, and to find myself in that kind of relationship, it was shameful. I felt like everything that I've learned didn't mean anything because I wasn't using it. And once I got through the fear and the shame, I have to agree, you must go. You got to believe that you're going to be okay. And when I started, as I say, joking about I'm about to be my own client, that was real. And once it resonated with me that I can do this, you must go, not wait, not think, mend your heart on your own and with family and friends. And we have the resources, so you don't have to do it silently. We have all the resources a person would need to get out of that kind of relationship.
And I think you don't have to do it alone.
And you do not.
And people feel like they are alone, particularly because they haven't talked about it and no one knows, adding the element of embarrassment and shame.
Absolutely.
But you are not alone.
You're not.
Help is definitely there for you.
And don't think it can't happen to you.
Absolutely.
You know, don't think it's not you. For those of you watching, it can be you, and that's why we're here for you. But what about you, Ann? You know, what would be your final words, you know, for that woman who feels like the embarrassment and shame outweigh her own personal safety, or they just believe it will never happen to them?
Well, I would tell any woman that's in a domestic violence, awareness is when you are with someone who treats you different from any other thing, if they hit you, if they uphold other situations and they don't uphold you. And they realize that once that hit comes, that slap comes, the verbal comes, the sexual abuse will come. It's all in one thing. If it comes once, it's not because of they had a bad day.
Right.
They got a problem.
Right.
Recognize that's not your problem. So don't get so masked up in it that their problem become your problem. Watch them signs and reach out. Speak to it. It's so much resources here now.
Right.
Like I said, back in the days, I'm old school. There was no resources.
Right.
That's
Nobody
not why
talked about
I
it.
stayed there,
No
but I was afraid.
resources, no laws, no services, nothing.
But now
so you were alone.
I was alone, but I'm a survivor though.
right.
But I know
Yes, you
that
are.
God told me in this transition that He knew what my path was before I entered my mother's womb. And I asked Him why I went through all I did. He said, because I brought you out of that darkness to the light, and I need you to save other souls.
There you go.
And that's what I do.
There you go. So basically, in
It's
summary,
powerful.
when love hurts, get help.
Yes.